No, I think there's a bigger problem that when we focus on the personalities of people like Elon Musk and people say, oh, I think Elon's thinking this or that. There's a bigger problem here about how we are going to control the channels of communication in this country.
How we're going to control the channels of communication in this country. We need to be the ones telling people the news, telling people what's important, telling people what they should believe and should be doing, and thinking. Most importantly, thinking.
In 1927, we had the Radio Act. 1934, the Communications Act. Congress stepped in. We made rules. FCC wasn't great, but it's...
Of course, the rules they made around radios, what did those do? They shut out the small community stations. That's why you have the pirate radio community. There's a great, I think it's Pirate USA documentary on this whole thing and how NPR supported it because they wanted to get the small players out because they were taking away listeners from them, right? So what it resulted in, what he's talking about there, what resulted is a great consolidation of media. And of course, if you go today down to the radio station, nobody's there. It's just a bunch of computers with a tower out somewhere. And they're just doing it all electronically. We've had cases where pipelines, or I think a train derailed somewhere up north, and they went to the radio to get the message out to the community that people within several miles of this train derailment need to evacuate. And, well, it's all run by computers. Nobody's there because they have gone in and centralized that entire industry, right? And so that's what he's really advocating for when he's talking about all of these laws that now all of a sudden are a grave threat and we need to act on them because Elon and Zuckerberg. Now, Zuckerberg wasn't a problem before, you know, when he was in and all that thing, but somehow now all of a sudden he's a problem. And it's not just because they don't want you to think they're only focusing on Elon, but yeah, they're only focusing on Elon.
Still regulating the broadcast industry. You can't use vulgar language. You can't do all these things with speech.
Of course, what's happened to broadcast television? It's dead. It's dead. It's the nightly news, which is subsidized by the governments, by this whole system to push out the propaganda, the fear, the mind control.
We gave over our what amounts to our airwaves or our internet waves to Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. And we are in so much trouble because those guys believe in making money. We've already seen that with the 2016 election and Zuckerberg when he was taking rubles for ads from Russia and saying, oh, I think it's crazy to think they had any influence on this election.
It's those darned Russians who were proven, you know, who are colluding with Trump, obviously, except they didn't. It was, in fact, the Clintons that were colluding with the Russians and fabricating stories and so forth. They're the problem. And it's not, you know, CIA, CNN money coming in or U.S. government money coming in to CNN to fund its operations. That's not the problem. You guys are fair and balanced and giving us the true picture.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about troubling and irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these things simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.